Welcome to the Emotioneering podcast with me, Melissa Curran, the founder and CEO of the Modern Mind Group. We are emotioneering human performance, not engineering it. In season 1, we talked about emotioneering the modern mindset and really about those people skills and the expression and the communication. In season 2 that we're in now, we're going to have topics center around everything to do with emotioneering business results. And that's going to cover creating great places to work, increasing profits, human capital, the people, getting record-breaking results, and world-class employee engagement. I'm going to be interviewing guests that I know are absolute experts in this area and will be able to share their knowledge, share their learnings on the journey with you and myself. And I'm really looking forward to getting into all things emotioneering with them. Remember to subscribe to YouTube, to the Facebook page, to Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course, you can go to the website, modernmindgroup.co.uk, and you'll get our monthly newsletter there. Enjoy the show. Our guest today and on the show is Alisa Zotimova. She is the CEO and founder of AZ Real Estate, which is a property and real estate company in London. And I'll leave Alisa to tell you more, but absolutely so grateful for you to be here, Alisa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa. It's exciting. It's my first podcast in English. This is my second one as a guest, obviously, in my life. But the first one was in Russian. Russian is my mother tongue. I hail from a Moscow suburb in Russia. I moved to London and the UK, though, 15 years ago, and this is definitely home. So, I'm Alisa Zotimova, and I run my own business. It's coming to its 10-year anniversary this summer, which is both believable and unbelievable. It seems like only yesterday I was working in a corporation. So before that, I did work for 10 years in 2 big real estate companies. So real estate is my main career calling and way to make a living. I've been doing commercial real estate for the last 20 years really. Started in Moscow, moved with a global company, Cushman Wakefield, moved with them to London 15 years ago, worked for another 5 years here, and then started my own company. So AZ Real Estate is based in London. We are a boutique firm, or a firm that's both fairly small in size. We're now at our largest number of team members at 8, which is a lot of people for me. We work with really the clients who appreciate this personal approach and individual approach, who can afford it, but also who really benefit from that extra added value. So we're not really your typical estate agents, as we call them in the UK. We're advisors, but we don't build anything ourselves. We're not developers. We're not construction people. So that's who I am.
That's amazing. One, congratulations on almost being at your 10th year in business now. That is absolutely fantastic. 20 years in the property industry and in real estate, just amazing. And it's why we wanted to get you on here as a guest. You've really started your business. Like you said, you've got the team to the size it is now, but you've grown that yourself from the ground up. You've really transferred that experience that you had elsewhere. But there've been a lot of learnings sort of along the way. And I love what you're doing for clients in terms of that that convenience and that really tailored approach, because you really know your market and you know London really, really well. So absolutely fantastic. And for some people, they need that help, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's definitely, we have enough work for sure. There are clients who do need that help. There are customers who don't have the extra time to look for themselves. They don't have the expertise. We work with a lot of incoming expats, so Russians, Turks, Americans, you name it, who, as long as they speak English or Russian, we can help them. So all of my team is bilingual, but we're based in the UK. So we have the remaining third are probably the local clients. I'll just tell our audience that Melissa and I worked together briefly now last year, 2021. We met, and I had the privilege of being consulted by Melissa, and she's really helped our team around. So to make some improvements in our learning and excellence. So that's why she knows a bit more about my company probably. But yeah, I think today, Melissa, we are just not talking about that work, but we're talking about what my experience as an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And how you can really help share that message for people that may be going through something similar. In a service-based industry, how you build a team, how you still continue to pass on those skills to others, and the challenges that come along the way. So tell us, first of all, who, you got to the point where you were like, actually, I need some help with this, and now I need to hire somebody. Tell us a little bit about that and who that first person was.
Yeah, I was really trying to remember. You think this is your company and it's only been 10 years, but I'm pretty sure who the first person was, but I'm not 100. I'm 97% sure. Yeah, I started with interns. So because I think it's great for a startup to get some, temporary help. You don't need to make a really firm commitment, because I take my responsibilities towards my team and especially, full-time staff very seriously. If you take someone on, you're committed to pay their salary, to pay their pension and their national insurance. It's not a decision that people take lightly, and it's the same way for me when hiring someone. And having an intern helps you a little bit with that, right? It's by nature, it's often temporary. And again, it was a lighter load for me emotionally, I think, and financially. And also, I think for me, and I recommend people take interns or just hire young people to do work, because I think it's very important to give someone their, if not first chance, but at least one of the first working experiences, and I think it's important to definitely pay for it. Even if someone's happy to come and work for you for free, I think it's important to remunerate, maybe at the lower level. So that's just my credo. So also let's we're discussing the people I was directly hiring and responsible for. From day one, I was obviously working with some consultants, right? So I was a hired gun for a few former colleagues, but also I had people who helped me, but on a more independent basis. So I'm not including those. So I think the first person was a couple of years in, and it was my first intern was called Aisha. She was a young lady who hailed from Sweden, lived in London, but her origin were African, from one of the African countries. And she was great. She worked for me in the summer for a couple of months, and we got some stuff done. And then I had another intern, a Russian guy called Dmitry, who's doing really, I think, I haven't spoken to him for a while, but he did a good job working for me. But he's since really progressed his career. He returned to Russia and started there, and I think he's doing quite well. And then I started hiring people and basically firing them. And that went on for a while. But not I didn't hire. I hired a few people, and some people stayed, and and some people didn't work out, and that's just life.
It's part of it, right? It absolutely is the hiring, the inspiring, and the firing. Like it's part of business. It does happen because accountability kind of must take place. But let's go back a little bit about you kind of talking about those interns and saying who they were. And I know this is a podcast, but if you guys could see Alisa right now, like the way she was smiling, the way she was like, thinking back to that particular moment, you can see it really, it really mattered. It was a pivotal point where you were sort of bringing in this sort of support. So you made the decision. You were like, right, this lady's going to come and help me. Like, what was going through your mind, kind of like in the run up to her starting to be onboarded, coming in, you having to show her what to do? Do you remember? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was much more casual than what you described back then. I mean, the onboarding was, there was definitely some onboarding, but I think, in terms of telling her what to do, I think that was more of a stress for me to have to come up with tasks for her and keep her busy. And it's this first, I mean, I have had significant experience with working with teams and other people in my years before. I had no problem delegating, but it's also, it's what do you delegate and what really needs to be done. But we came up with some tasks. What was running through my mind, I really don't recall it in such detail. I think then it's kind of fast forward to the next few people I've hired. I think coming up with multiple tasks for them and kind of really on one hand trying to make sure you get as much value or every penny's worth of this person you hired, but on the other hand is making sure that the tasks that you have in mind for them, they're actually capable of executing, that they have the skills and the knowledge to do it. So that's a tricky balance. I think the further I went along, the more structured this process became. Let's put it this way.
Absolutely. And that's certainly something that I've learned myself. And I think a lot of other entrepreneurs and business people can relate to that. You get someone in and you kind of go, oh yeah, I've got to start kind of document, like I've got to try and create some type of checklist of how I do this stuff so I can kind of hand it over. And we haven't necessarily thought that entirely through it, beforehand. So really important lessons there, and great to have you share that kind of early sort of vulnerability and newness to what you were doing. So now let's look back. So we've gone back to the beginning. We're now at the point you're at now. You're 9 years in, coming up to 10 years, and you've now built this amazing team of people. Like, what is maybe something what is the biggest thing about leading a team? What has it taught you?
I think it's the teams are different, so my answer would be different, and let me address the question where it is now, but the answer is different. I think is it? No, you got me thinking, because I led teams before, as I mentioned, and I think you just need to people around you need to see that what you're doing, that you have the confidence, that you got their back, that you're a leader, right? It's leading teams, being a leader, it's even in the verb that you used. Leaders need to be strong, and they need to be knowledgeable, and they need to have answers. So I think in many ways this is what my team looks to me for as well now. So in my present situation, let me think what's important. We're definitely working a lot more remotely now, both through COVID, that sort of threw that into the mix, but also I have, so out of 8 people, 7 of us are based in the UK. One is in Turkey, and it's worked for me for 3 years, and we never once met in person. So I'm very pro globalization and remote working. And Alisa, my assistant and team assistant, she's great, and we've never met in person, and she works remotely. So that for us was before pandemic. She's a mom. She's had 1 child when I hired her. She's now got 2. So, that's something I believe in. Also, all of the team are women. I'm just kind of, it's a segue, but I'll come back to your answer. 2 other colleagues of mine work part-time, so on about 60% of their working week, and they both work remotely, fully remotely, with like maybe 1 visit to the office or to a property per month. And they both have kids, and so that's kind of, now that's 3 of us. I would say a hybrid worker, so I'm both in the office sometimes and sometimes working from home, and there are a few of us who are mostly in the office plus on viewings. So I think the challenge to leadership now is really gluing that all together, and making sure no one's really just as I say, boiling in their own juices too much, and then feeling not even like, there's loneliness and kind of exclusion to consider, but also, you chances to go off a tangent and then kind of lose your goal, or spending time on something that's far less relevant or far less a priority when you're by yourself. That's definitely a risk. So I think, kind of herding all my kittens back together as a leader, I think that's important. And we have WhatsApp groups for that, and we have weekly calls and various sort of things, and people check in at the end of the day with what they've achieved, and everyone sees that in the WhatsApp. Again, it not a micromanagement tool, but I remind people to do that because it gives me a chance to see what they're doing, but also, it also reminds them how much they've done, or how little, if that was the case, they've done during the day, and kind of to reassess your working day. So, so I think that's, as a leader, that's a challenge. Also, I think, I'm the, let's say, the CEO or the GM, but I have a great sort of second in command now, who thankfully helps me with a lot of these leadership tasks as well, because I need to still be going out there and getting your business, and there's only that many hours and minutes in the day and in your life. So, I need to share my time between actually leading the team, but also doing my own stuff, also to the benefit of the company.
Yeah, and that is a challenge. You talked about two clear challenges there for leadership. This new hybrid world of working that we're in. Yes, you've been doing that with your team member for kind of 3 years, but then having to move more into the remote world since the pandemic, definitely. So for those that are listening, just to kind of jump in the conversation on that, it is a challenge. And I think it's more of a challenge than people think, in that kind of connection that you're talking about. So Gallup used to run, talk about the engagement surveys, the employee engagement survey. And there's one key question on there, which is, do you have a best friend at work? Now, the percentages of people that would answer that used to be statistically high in companies that had good culture, good teamwork. And now that kind of office chat, or that kind of socializing, or that interconnection, or that rapport that you would build up when you're all together, it's not necessarily there. So people are now starting to answer no in the employee engagement survey, because also their best friend may have left workplace, right?
But it's not because the culture has significantly decreased, but that, it's like that intangible element, giving each other compliments, grabbing lunch together, or, like the little moments, aren't, are removed through a removal of this, like day-to-day little work-hold contact.
Totally. And that kind of, that whole adoption of that the WhatsApp group that you were talking about, I love that, because what you're basically saying is, it's a way of me kind of seeing what's activity's been going on in the day, but also so they get to kind of have that joint celebration of the things that are being achieved together, and they don't feel like they're alone. Can you repeat the phrase that you used about boiling? Because I absolutely loved it.
No, it's boiling in your own juices. It's a bit of a you're in a soup, but you're too much of your own soup. It's
I love that. I'm sure the listeners will love it.
Transliterate, like it's a direct translation from Russian. What варится в собственном соку. Like a compote. It's nice, but you need some other ingredients.
That's a good point. You're boiling your own juice. So true. And that's a brilliant analogy. Thank you for bringing that to the show today.
I don't think it should go into some management best practice book, but we could use it.
Never know. But people remember things, right? If it's got meaning to them. Absolutely. Alisa's 101, boiling in your own juices. Do
not boil in your own juices for too long. But I think, on this point, it's for startups and entrepreneurs. I think it's like super important also when it's just you, especially also not to just boil in your own juices, because it could lead to a beautiful, to continue with like culinary connotations. It could, you can become a wonderful reduction, a use or something super yummy, but very concentrated. But also, you could just go off, you could become just a stiff, like the water comes out and it's all bone. I don't know. I think we should drop that. But I think what the point I'm trying to make is also for those of us, of you guys listeners who are at an earlier stage and it's just you, or maybe just you on like a part-time, that intern who may not bring you that much because you're on different levels. I'm a big proponent for like having peers, like a network or just some people, again, not necessarily a mentor, because again, they may be on a level above you, but people who are in the same-ish position and talking, chatting on the forum, or having someone, knowing someone, and just throwing things off, bouncing things off each other. I think that's very valuable and really a must. So you don't become too concentrated on yourself, because again, it could be like you could get hyped up about something pretty insignificant, or maybe a wrong decision that somebody may shed a different light on. But likewise, it could be like a negative spiral, which gonna make an elephant out of something insignificant, and you could get really depressed really quickly.
Depressed really quickly, totally. And that kind of loneliness that can occur as well as an entrepreneur. Brilliant advice. And also going back to what you were talking about building the team, you talked about bringing the interns in, but you were like, but hang on, I had some consultants and a team prior to that. And I see that, and you're right. So you're kind of speaking from experience there in having good people around you before you as you're kind of moving towards building your own team. So fantastic advice and great point there. So there you are. You've got to this point. You're not boiling your own juices. The remote team that you were talking about, and also that other element and that other challenge that you brought up about the fact that you're in the business, having to delegate tasks, having to find someone that you can put your trust in to execute on the things that you're doing, by finding that kind of that GM that you've got, and that gives you that little bit more peace of mind then, right, as a business leader.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to find that person, let me tell you. But once you do it and you can afford to pay for it and it all stacks up, it's brilliant. And I definitely, again, I don't want to sound lazy, but there are some things I just don't want to do myself now. It's just, it's nice to be able, or I would, I also remind myself, look, if all of you guys disappear, I used to do it all myself. So yeah, I'll probably manage, not to this volume or amount, but that's kind of your like absolute plan Z, but that's not the top plan.
No, and it's interesting you picked up on that, because I think that is something that it's good to notice that actually you have a vision. You started this business for a reason, to be able to grow through it. Yes, do the hard work, but also then to grow other people to do the work for you, so that you can spend, let's be honest, you're also a mum, right?
Yes, I am. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. The business is 10 years old. My son Leo, he's yesterday he turned 2 years and 7 months, so that's 2.5 basically. And so I've had I got him while I had the company already, and I'm a mom, and I'm combining the two. Well, I think we're all more than business person moms, and we all of us wear multiple hats, but these are my two very distinctive hats. Yeah. What would you like to know about that, Melissa?
No, I was just bringing up the point that, as you've grown the business, you now have, you have new priorities as well. You've got, spending time with family, and the fact that you've spent 20 years in real estate, it puts things into perspective, so that you can maybe stand back a little bit, isn't it? And start to.
It's a choice. Yeah. And I'm a writer, right? So, because I wrote my book. And so these are all, mom writing, while staying human and learning something new or remembering something old. Are all the things. It's more a luxury, but definitely something I consciously afford myself to do, and to spend my time on, and my money on running the business through other people's hands. That's all a choice, but it's nice to do it. I'm 42, so just for people's kind of background, and I don't want to sound like I'm ready to retire at 42. I still work a lot, and it's not all like hanging out with my kid and writing books, but it's a nice balance. I'm happy with what I have now.
Yeah, which is amazing. And coming on, we will come on to the book shortly. Before that, I know that you started a little bit before the book. You started a women's mentoring group. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's a kind of it's not an organic. It's like an ad hoc. I think would be a more suitable word to call this group. I mean, this group has now closed off, so I'll explain. I mean, I've always believed. So Aisha, my first intern, I mean, in some ways she was my mentee and I was her mentor. I also paid her a bit of money and she did a bit of work for me. So, before, I think, so I believe in mentorship, not just women mentoring women, just, I don't know, more mature and knowledgeable people helping people younger. I strongly believe in that. And I think kind of unofficially I was doing that. I mean, I had great people who helped me. And if I ever recommend, if I ever had to answer what I like about my work or what one should look in a workplace, not talking about working for yourself now, but it's being surrounded by intelligent people. I think that's really great. So I've probably mentored some people along my way, even before. I've more formally started this. I was a member of Urban Land Institute, ULI, one of the professional property organizations, which was great. And we had, I was chairing the Young Leader Committee there for a couple of years. And we had, also a more formal mentorship program. And I had a nice mentor and I was a mentor to somebody through that. So it's kind of, it's been going on for a while. And, and then I think as I was writing, because my book is a lot about sort of sisterhood and women helping women and other people helping women too. I was boiling in those juices a lot, I think. And and I thought, maybe I should do a group. So this was maybe in, kind of winter 2021, about a year ago. And I just put it on Instagram and said, I'll take on 2 people for 6 months and help, apply with them, tell me why it should be you. And it ended up being more. It ended up being a lot more applications. So I met, but some women who, and this time it was just for women, just because I felt so it wasn't like an official. Sometimes you just need to, if you have an idea, just don't wait for its perfect formulation. I mean, there are lots of things around that already have a structure, and if you can join one of those, do it. I didn't have one. I just thought, you know what, here's a chance. I'll do it myself. I have an idea, and let's see what happens. So some of the women who applied were already so strong that I suggested that they take up some of the mentees, other applicants. So I matched them up. There were maybe like 4 or 5 pairs, and they've done really well, actually. It was nice. And I've myself then took on 2 women individually, so once a month for 6 months. And then like a few girls, there were 4 girls who had very similar backgrounds, very similar kind of stages and things they wanted. So I bundled them together and I did like a group as well for the 6 months. So that's now done and dusted, and I'm not doing it for a while again.
No, I get that. It's like you did it, you've grown it, but I'm just seeing these natural qualities of a leader where you've kind of gone, hey, hang on a minute, I could take them all, or I could send some away, or actually I can see these people would fit together. So what you've done, you've kind of empowered. I love it. I'm just like, I'm beaming from year to year. You've empowered people to continue their relationships and continue their journey on without you, to take that next step. But supported them to get to that point in the first place. I think it's fantastic.
And actually the four in the mini group also, they became friends in their own right. So they probably have some background group without me. Well, I hope, and I think because again, so I kind of connected them, and I'm saying, I may do it again. I still love it, but the other side of it, of these great ideas, when you're helping someone, it takes your energy and time as well. And that's something to be conscious of. And there's also, and there, some people may benefit from it hugely, and tell you, be very grateful, but you may also not get the gratitude you expected from others. And I mean, without too many hints, there were some interesting outcomes from this 6 months as well, with one of the participants. That was There was just some very strange response after spending a lot of my time. It turned out it was all for useless, and it was very interesting. That happens as well.
Of course it does. I mean, it's part of coaching. Some people that it's about the perceptions, isn't it? Some people believe they're open to being coached and to be supported and mentored, and then other people, they believe they are, but it does, they're not able to listen, put that action into place, and it doesn't go somewhere. But that's the point. You've had success with the others. So thank you for sharing that. And
Sure.
I think it just adds to the character of you, Alisa, and what you're able to share with the world. You've created a legacy there. You've also created a legacy with the book, which I am keen to come on to, but I do have just a couple more questions before we go into that. If someone is listening to this out there right now and they are struggling with their team, what are some things, like 3 tips that you would give them to move forward with?
Biggest lesson I want to share about getting a team together and reviewing your team or growing your team is, do not hire the first person that comes your way, no matter how nice they seem. I know it's so obvious. I mean, it should be, right? Sounds obvious when I'm saying it, but I've done it. I'll give you an example. It's not just the first CV you get. I've hired some people because I knew them and because they came to me looking for work. And then I sort of roughly needed somebody at that point. And then I thought, okay, let's put it together. This person needs work. I need someone to help me. Boom. There were a lot of failures in this approach. I think it was a matter of time when they all failed, so definitely, please, if there's, hiring and growing your team, in my opinion, should be proactive, not reactive. Not, so try not to react to a great candidate or a great intern or a great young person who sent you their CV. Again, through the kindness of my heart or the foolishness or just who knows why. Yeah, I definitely in the beginning reacted and hired these people and then thought, okay, and it's not like I even have that much money to throw at it. It's not like I was like, let me hire a person, but then I thought, okay, I need someone and this seems like a good candidate. Why look further? This is a match, made in God knows where it was made. But so the right way to go about it would be to outline a vacancy you have, and it may be, especially in the beginning, that you need like such a multitasker, right? So you kind of need someone with IT skills and sales, usually the 2 opposites, hardly combinable in one person. But even so, write it down and try to see what vacancy you have, and when you're very clear about who you're looking for, then go far and wide and get as many candidates as possible, because it's just it's just brings such better results. More tips and tricks. Let's see. Then I become very subjective. It's my opinion, everything I share, right?
Sure it is. Yeah.
I think, so the whole kind of the attitude problem versus performance, where do you draw a line when you feel like the person kind of psychologically and through their character and through their sort of just their chemistry isn't a great fit for you and, maybe for the rest of the team or just for you, that's an even bigger question. But then they are performing, So how long do you keep them? How do you change them? Can you change a person? I hope everyone's grown up enough to know that no, you can't. You should either accept them the way they are. So this is, I don't know, this is less of a tip than a question for further discussion or for further comments. But I think I did need to once let a person go who was actually, also a friend, but, I hired her for her benefits and for her skills. I mean, she was a former colleague. We worked together in Moscow 10 years before, and then I had my own business in London, and she came around and she worked for me for a year, and she achieved, she did her work, and clients liked her, or some clients liked her, but unfortunately, we're still friends, thankfully, and I needed to let her go, and it was very, very hard. And the reason I needed to let her go was because through just other circumstances in her life unrelated to work, she was just so down, just so sad and negative. And and unfortunately that negativity was just seeping through. And it was, but in day-to-day life it was like, no, we shouldn't do it. She was stubborn and she wasn't agreeing, and she was just very set in her ways, and it was just hard. And it really translated into work, and I didn't see any way of that changing or improving. And I had to let her go. And she thankfully, and I didn't know how she would react. I mean, we were both upset when that conversation was taking place, but the first thing she said, thankfully, was, "Thank you so much for having me for so long." She didn't say it in these words, but for giving me a chance and working with me for a year, and for bearing with me this long. I know I've been awful myself, So I think it was something she was aware of, and in some ways, the happy continuation, not an end, or maybe a new beginning, is that she's then kind of really decided to go back to something she studied in uni 20 years ago, and she's gone and got a degree, basically retrained for a law degree, and now found work in a law firm. And she's I think her eyes are burning much brighter, and she's much more energized. So again, that's I think two out of three. I gave you something,
and that's it. I think sometimes it's and we're coming back to it was hiring, firing, inspiring, firing. Sometimes it is hard to do that, but also if we're keeping people, we're also holding them back from potentially those opportunities that you talked about, and finding what's really right for them. If we can help them while they're in the company to find out what they really want to do, at that point before they leave, then great. If not, it's something that everyone's on their life lesson, aren't they? Everyone's on their own journey, and just because maybe we've learned something doesn't mean they're at that point where they can learn it right now. So, thank you for that vulnerable share and that honest share with us. I definitely felt the emotion while you were sharing that. And it is tough. Family, friendships, work, all of those things that cross over. It can be a real challenge. So brilliant advice there from you, Alisa, on those points. So, with your team at AZ, how would you describe the culture now and the way that you have the team?
I don't know. You shouldn't ask me. You should ask the team now. But I'll give you. Because here's the culture I'd like us to. I'm aiming for. No, but I think it's a flat. We're pretty unhierarchical, if there's such a word. It's flat enough, but I think but I make it clear as to who the questions and approvals can go to and come from. But but again, it was flat while it lasted. Now, with every new person, the kind of clarity even in this regard needs to is more and more important. I think we have fun. We sort of joke, and it's not very formal. We help and support each other. I think there's that feeling of camaraderie and knowing each other. And I try to make sure we meet in real life and have nice lunches and sort of hang out and get to know each other a little bit as much as possible. What else? We are, we're not perfectionists, but we're definitely striving for excellence and, really high level of service, being sure that we're giving people what they're paying for, and justifying our fees and really bringing that value, not just sending invoices. Constant learning is one of our sort of values. And I think, I believe that, it's just can't stop learning. And you should definitely start at some point, but you don't stop. And I think, that's something I challenge my team about when I feel they're asking a question that, an answer is attainable from a source other than me or other than a colleague. But again, I also believe there are no stupid questions, that kind of the structure of like, why did you ask that? That's stupid. They won't hear, they won't hear that from me, but they may hear, well, what do you think? What else? I think, I don't know, we're optimistic, and I like my team to know that, and them to give that feeling to each other, is that I will always defend them, and we got each other's backs, but also, they like, we won't work with nasty people, and bad attitudes towards my team will not be tolerated, and we don't have to scrap for every penny anymore, and we'll just, some clients are not for us, some fits will not happen, and that's okay. So I think that's important as well.
Brilliant. And I love that. The defending of the team, the fun aspects that you talked about, the making sure that you've got that bonding experience, some really key points that you brought out there, Alisa. And you're right. I think sometimes people look at business and say, well, I have to help everyone. Well, it's not really the case, is it? It's the right people for you, the right business that you want to work with, as well as the right customers, and then things can grow much better. Brilliant insights there. So what is something that, and bringing on to that point, what is something that maybe people don't understand about real estate, or something that has always been something that comes up, like a question that always people ask?
I think, well, there's a common, there's some bad karma or bad expectations, definitely with, again, to listeners in the UK, this would make more sense. To listeners abroad, I'll just explain a little bit. So, but I think there is some kind of bad sort of, real estate agents have a bad rap, or, in some worlds, it's like, realtors or brokers, or these, in the UK they ask them estate agents. So often not the most intelligent people go into this field. Often you come across some very pushy people in this field. Sometimes there's dishonesty, or just a willingness to make a quick buck or pound, and just get the most money and run, and not care about the future, reputation, or whatever. All of these things we're not, and thankfully there are a lot of people in this industry across the globe, but definitely in the UK, who are not, who do not possess the qualities I described, and they're wonderful people and smart, very intelligent, but there are also some, not so bright ones. So I think it's overcoming that. No, sorry, we're not these guys. We're advisors, consultants. You pay us more, you get more. No, we don't cut corners. No, I can't take cash. No, we have to have a copy of your passport. And no, just some of the expectations that people have, we just either need to dissuade them, or, either through just saying that up front, or through our actions, and showing that we're more, because sometimes people are like, well, I don't have a choice, I have to hire someone, so I may as well hire you. You seem nice, your office is central, but they don't really expect much more from us, and then it's nice to overcome those expectations and show them, wow, actually. So I think these expectations that kind of, and again, there's interesting, there's a divide, and like, there's commercial property, so offices, which I used to do for 10 years, and we still do a lot of commercial property, and then like residential. So these often are like two separate worlds, where again, there's, he's just a resi agent, residential agent, and there's like, wow, I work in investment, so even internally in the industry, there's some kind of segregation, which shouldn't really take place. I mean, neither is rocket science. I mean, it's still property, and so I find that interesting. And often there's, so in AZ Real Estate, we do both. We have, the strong residential presence, but also because we offer commercial property services. So a search for, a restaurant, or renting an office space, or investment opportunities with stabilized cash flow. We can do it all, because it's not really rocket science, as I've just explained, and we tell that to clients. And again, a lot of peers in the industry don't get it. Wow, how, which way, which field do you fall in? What box are you in? No, I have my own. I created my own sandpit, and I'm playing in it. So yeah, I think that's interesting. Yeah, and I think in real estate generally, especially in residential, but sometimes in commercial, yeah, I think more and more there is a sort of a drive to self-perform, right? So a client is tempted to not hire a professional for their search or their sale or their real estate needs. And again, in some percentage of, maybe 10% of the time that could work, in my opinion. The rest, I think, it's really valuable to like going to a lawyer or a doctor or, I believe in professional advice in all the fields. So yeah, I think, oftentimes in our industry, people tend to try to self-perform or even self-perform. And sometimes it works out. A lot of times people make mistakes and, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah,
you're going to pay for it anyway. You're really not saving on the commission. Then you may as well pay this commission to someone who's going to fight your corner and be officially like your representative and will take a lot of headaches off your plate and your diary. And you can go and do your main job and make way more money in the meantime than you paid us in our commission. So I think that's something about people don't often realize about property business.
Fantastic. And with that insight, because you do see over all of them, my question is, what do you potentially, just very briefly, predict may happen within the property world over the next few years? What's the future look like?
Yeah, forecasting is such an ungrateful role, because when you're wrong, everyone remembers it. When you're right, oh well, that just happened. I don't usually do it, but I think so I won't make any specific predictions of looking in the crystal ball. But I think, look, very briefly, definitely I think the disruption through digitalization of things and simplification and appification, I think it will continue. I think that's inevitable. And I think it's not such a bad thing. It sort of whips some people into shape who got away with just lousy work because there was no proper way to self-perform for clients. So I think, definitely some disruption, although I'm not sure of any completely new, like amazing new thing that no one's thought about yet. I may be wrong, or at least it doesn't come to me. So I think there'll be more sort of fine tuning and crystallization of good ideas that already exist. And then, but I think, the human element and like this knowledge of the fabric of the city, the areas, what we get hired for, that's still going to be in demand and it wouldn't disappear. I think, there's just, maybe there'll just be more market play at play, more like competition and logic. And I've been a client as well as, we work with a lot of peers in the industry. And sometimes I think, these people shouldn't really exist the way they work and the way they act. How are they still around? And I wouldn't cry when some of these sort of underperformers disappear, and we're not afraid of that because we have I think we have a competitive edge. What else? And I think, look, London isn't going anywhere. So it proved it through Brexit and through COVID. And it's just so obvious now, like the prices are through the roof and the interest is there. The international aspect of London, which was a big debate, after Brexit, everyone's going to move away. No, I'm not going to invest for 3 more years. Well, those who did have more money now. So I think those are my forecasts.
Fantastic. Brilliant insights there. Incredible. So the book, let's come on to that, because through this knowledge, through this journey from Russia to London, you have, written this book. Tell us a little bit about that and the journey.
Yeah. So the book is called Из Москвы в London. So from Moscow to London. It's in Russian just now. It's called From Moscow to London, and its subtitle is Notes on Happiness and Business. So they're not lessons, they're not life hacks, they're notes, which sort of describes that I am not really teaching or preaching, but the book is sort of part autobiography, part kind of motivator slash business book slash it's kind of a book of advice and my ideas and things that worked for me. So it's about kind of growing up in Russia, finding an interest in the English language, my schooling, and then my first job in like late 90s, and how I got into property in early 2000s in Moscow, and then my move to London, how I found what it was like here, a bit about London, it's like sort of secret places and Russians in London, and a bit about the cultural differences or the comparing the two cultures, and then it's about starting my own business, or before that, how I, kind of the deciding whether working for yourself is for you or it isn't, and how I went about it. So all of these have examples from my life, and then, but I try to make it very specific. So especially towards the second half of the book, there are actually those checklists and life hacks, and there are specific lists of things that you could easily apply to yourself. And then there's a part about mistakes I made and things that work at the moment, and then there is a bit about also finding kind of my personal life and starting a family later in life. So I got married when I was 35, and I had my son age 39, and there's a bit about around that and the journey to that. So you have the content, table of contents in a nutshell.
It's amazing. And I'm writing a book myself, but like I don't think sometimes people realize really what goes into that you're putting your words, your life, your experiences onto that page. And you launched it last year. I've seen a lot of the kind of PR, although it's been in Russian, it's been fantastic to follow the journey and see the Instagram stories and posts. Like, what is something that has surprised you, or is something that you've learned since you've released it?
Well, it's not been so long, really, just really like under 2 months even, because it finally came out in paper, and on the 2nd of December or thereabouts, I launched it in Moscow. So and it took me 6 months to write, and which is fast compared to many like things, and a year from basically conception to more or less getting it published, which is also very quick. So but that was a lot of hard work, and that took some time. What I've learned since it came out, I'm getting the feedback now. I mean, some people who've read it, I'm preparing myself for haters and trolls, but thankfully so far they're all either sleeping or they are lazy enough to write about me. But so far the feedback's been great, and it's a wonderful kind of return of, call it energy, or just this gratitude, and just the fact that it's not, I've not done it for nothing, and it is hitting some of the aims and the goals that I had for it. So supporting someone who just wants to know that, oh, actually this happened to other people, I'm not alone, it will get better. Or yesterday I spoke to a woman who is sitting at kind of on that fence of quitting her like stable job and maybe working for herself, and she said after she's read it, she had some more tangible specific things to think about and to write down and calculate, and that's great. Those are all the reasons I wrote it for. So I guess it's getting this feedback has been wonderful, but and it still continues to take time in promoting it and in talking about it. But it's a sort of a pleasant segue. But my goal is to get it out in English, because I think it's pretty universal. And I mean, we're increasingly in a kind of world of immigration, globalization, when people, I moved from Russia to London, but if somebody moves from London to Chile and then vice versa, there's the adjusting to a new culture, new workplace. I mean, and not moving as a kid, I was 27 when I moved. So, I mean, and I was an established professional, but I read a lot about, kind of the hiccups that were along the way, and things that helped me, and how people support each other and making new friends and keeping your old friends. So I think it turned out a good book.
Yes,
I just want more people to read it now.
Absolutely. So I will definitely be at the front of that list when it is in English, that is for sure. So, and that's why I wanted to get you on this podcast today, to hear people, hear your enthusiasm for what you do, hear your energy, but also your honesty in some of the things that can actually happen along the way in your journey, what is, but also that positivity and that optimism from the things that you learn from it. And I was actually getting quite emotional when you were talking about the feedback, because, to hear you say, like, literally, it wasn't all for nothing. Like, it never is. Like, you're planting seeds, and even if you make that difference to just a handful of people, it's enough, right? It starts that legacy. So congratulations.
No, a handful is not enough for me, Melissa. I need more. But yeah, you're right. Even a handful is already, a good life changed would already matter. But yeah.
Yeah. And it totally matters. People get lonely, people move, you're right, across the world, and then they've uprooted their life, and then what happens, right? So just incredible lessons today. And I'm so glad you were here for the interview. You've talked a lot about property, we've talked about the book writing, we've talked about the mentoring. Like, there's so much value that you've given us today.
I hope so.
How can people actually reach out to you if they're interested in property in London, or if they want to know about the book? Where can they find you?
I just generally, I want more followers. I need more followers on all sorts of wherever you feel comfortable, because I am now spending a lot more time and energy on just keeping up so connect with me, please. And then if there's a business matter, I'd love to do some business together, mainly in London and some other parts of the UK. We have investors with money, we have buyers, we have tenants, and like good quality stuff. And you can try for yourself what it's like to, whether I really, everything I talked about, all this nice stuff actually happens in real life, or I just made it up. And we are just another estate agent. You can find out. So connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Alisa_Zotimova. You can see my name in the name of the podcast. I'm on LinkedIn. It's probably my first, that's my strongest network. I joined in 2004. I feel like it's such a long time ago. Definitely Facebook. I started my Telegram channel, but that's in Russian for now. I have a YouTube channel with some videos, and some of them are in English, or, if you want to just look at a pretty picture and listen to some Russian, you could go there too. So Alisa Zotimova all around, or AZ Real Estate. We're also not hard to find, but I'd love to do work together if we can, as partners, as getting some referrals, or just being, getting clients. Likewise, if there are any people with links in literary world out there listening, I'd love to hear from you, because I'm looking, for English, like UK or global agent for my book in English. So that would be great. I'm making some inroads myself, but who knows, it's important to throw stuff out there, and maybe something interesting will come back. So connect with me in that sense as well. That would be great.
Fantastic. We have put it out there. We've manifested it. We've put it out to the universe and to the audience. Alisa Zotimova, it has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for joining us on the Emotioneering podcast.
Wonderful. Thanks for the chance, to spread this message as well, Melissa. Thanks a lot. I loved it.
Thanks for listening to the Emotioneering podcast with me, Melissa Curran, today. It's been great. Remember to subscribe to Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or all three. You can also come to the website, modernmindgroup.com, where you can subscribe there, stay in contact, and let us know what you really think. Give us the feedback. This is going to get better by knowing what you think. Has this given you food for thought? Has it helped you change something? What has it inspired? Let us know, because that's why we're doing it. It's all about the people. Have a great day, and ciao for now.